I have approximately 4 minutes before this cardigan gets too warm to be sitting in, so we're gonna make this snappy. I haven't ever considered myself a documentary type of person. I think they're very interesting, but I don't go looking for them in the movie theater specifically. With the subject matter being what it was, there was no way that I was going to skip this opportunity. I went to see Won't You Be My Neighbor with both of my siblings and Julia, and all four of us were so excited to see if the hype was real about this movie. We were pretty sure it was gonna be real, and we weren't disappointed. It was wonderful. I think one of the elements that made this documentary so special, not just to people who grew up with Mr. Rogers, but to people who simply would be watching this because they were curious, is that they mix interviews with Fred Rogers from back when he was young, along with interviews from close to the end of his life. And he spoke with such intelligence and care. I won't talk about the actual story in the documentary because I feel like that is something that should just be experienced. But because I was blown away by technical elements of the whole story, I have to highlight the music, which was fantastic, and the added element of mixing music from the show with a theme that continued to come back and just kind of sweep the audience off their feet into this world of feeling. And I don't really think there's another word to describe what was going on in my head when I was hearing that music. But it just soared throughout the story. And I loved that. One thing that really stood out to me was the interview style. With the interviews that they conducted for this specific documentary, they set up the camera in a way where, in order to talk to the interviewer, the subject was looking pretty much directly into the camera, which isn't really a style that's used all the time. And I'm not sure whether it was intentional or not, but I have to think it was, because I think 99% of the interviews featured someone who looked directly into the lens, practically. And it felt as though they were talking to the audience, not to the interviewer. And that felt a lot like the way that the show ran, where Fred Rogers would look directly at his audience and speak to them. I don't know whether that was intentional, but I think it probably was. There was a beautiful element that I don't want to spoil because I didn't know it was coming. The trailers did not give this element away, and so I don't want to give it away. But there was something that the filmmaker added to the story that both modernized and made the film more childlike. And it was perfect. I would highly recommend going to see this movie with people you love. I think maybe there were like 2 people who didn't cry, and they just don't cry in general, is my guess, because the rest of us did. This documentary is full of feeling, full of the love of people and the love of children. And so if you can go with siblings or parents or close friends, please do. Just go and enjoy 90 minutes of the passion that Mr. Rogers felt for people. Specifically children, but all people. It was beautiful.